Hi and welcome to this episode of The Screening Room, and today we are going to talk about the ever most anticipated movie so far, Godzilla vs. Kong. Stay tuned. The first meeting between Godzilla and King Kong was in 1962's King Kong vs. Godzilla. That movie was groundbreaking stuff for that time. While the visual effects budget may have changed since 6 decades ago, and believe me, it really shows, this is essentially more or less the same type of premise. It's basically a big slugfest between an ape and a giant lizard. What are they fighting about? I don't know. Some mumbo jumbo about ancient rivalries. The film really makes you work hard for the fun. You have to endure some boring storyline with humans before we really get to the good stuff. Just like Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, where 2 hours of boring exposition sitting in semicircles talking about the Force will lead to some exciting 5 minutes of lightsaber at the very end. Pretty much the same for Godzilla vs. Kong. Over 40 minutes, yes, 40 minutes of runtime passed till the two titans actually meet. We're introduced to a lot of lousy stories with human characters, and I'm talking about the humans here. It's so boring, and anytime that the monsters are not on screen, it's really draining. The scenes between Jia, or Jia in Chinese, and Kong, who is about a gazillion times bigger than her, are the movie's best, at least as far as the ones involving humans go. It's not just that she can communicate with Kong, she is also attuned to his emotions and can feel the vibrations of his heartbeat. It's quite sweet actually. But slowing down the events is Team Godzilla with Millie Bobby Brown, who played the daughter of scientist Madison Russell in the previous movie. I mean, let's get real. How much can you write about two monsters fighting on screen? What? King Kong marries Godzilla's sister and they fight over Chinese New Year reunion dinner? Please. I mean, there's only so much we can do. But, well, no choice. The writers have to come up with something, and the best they can come up with is the Hollow Earth theory. Now, don't get me started, but this is really ridiculous. I mean, you have the Hollow Earth theory, you have a hovercraft technology, and then you can transport monsters from one place to another Earth.
Are you serious?
Another part of Earth, and then there's Mega Godzilla. I mean, it's quite interesting, but it seems a bit out of place for this film. But whenever the titans meet, it is great A-stuff action. Both of them really come out and they slug it out with each other. The CGI is awesome. Even though, spoiler here, Kong loses a few rounds, Godzilla really helped Kong together redeem themselves in the final act. And you know what? I feel sorry for Godzilla. I mean, this is pretty much Kong's film. Godzilla is now deemed as the bad guy here in this film. And Kong, who is now technically an adult because he has some beard, developed a kind of personality. He's kind, he's gentle to the orphaned Tia, and he observes a morning routine, yawning, scratching his buttocks. And in his perspective, he's the closest to our human interaction and our species. But weirdly enough, Godzilla is really portrayed the villain here. But thankfully, the final battle gives us so much fight sequences that we totally are confused of what really goes on in the film. It's so disjointed that we just completely forgotten how bad the story was. Especially the scenes involving water, where Godzilla attacks Kong with the aircraft carrier, and all the way through the vibrant lights of Hong Kong. I mean, the fight sequences was really, really good. The monsters squaring off each other down in the Hong Kong scene, the last act, was very gratifying. A lot of tails swiping, a lot of buildings crashing down, and a lot of people dying. It's kind of strange that people die and we don't really care who they are because nothing was done to set up these monsters. The fights in Hong Kong, especially when they are walking through the skyscrapers, was fantastic. Hong Kong being decimated and destroyed. You know, sometimes you just want to switch off your brain and just watch a movie for a fun time. Now, this movie is neither that fun or it gave me a really good time. Sure, it has its bits of fan service, but that's about it. I left the movie theater feeling, you know, trying to review this film is like trying to convince the world that Guido shot Han Solo first.
I bet you have.
Now, here are the areas that I have a problem with. And as usual, it contains spoilers, so if you have not watched the movie, you have to leave right now. Number 1. Mega Godzilla or Mecha Godzilla. In the movie, the plot has this apex cybernetics using one of Ghidorah's head as a conduit to power up and control their creation, which is a giant robot called Mecha Godzilla, in shades of Pacific Rim, whereby the human, in this case Ren, the son of the previous scientist Dr. Ishiro, sits inside the skull of Ghidorah, which looks like a DJ booth by the way, and uses it to control and move the robot. I mean, when they insert a power rod found from a hollow earth to power up the robot, the spirit of Ghidorah takes over the robot and starts to fight with Godzilla. The fight is awesome, but how did the spirit of Ghidorah learn so much of how to handle the weapons of the robot? I mean, did the ancient three-headed lizard from the stars learn how to use the robot? Did it attend robot alien school? We will never know, because it was now set up. Also, when the team found the energy source at the bottom of the center of the earth, they emailed the energy source. Hey, that's not how power works. How can you email a power source? It's like when someone is hungry, I email them a picture of a food and he opens up the email attachment and eats it. Idiots. Next problem I have, the human characters. Now, as I mentioned, the problem with monster movies is that the human characters are not going to interact with the monsters. I get it, alright, they're monsters fighting each other. What can we do? But the best they can come up with is a cute, deaf, mute girl. Really? That's subtext for you. I mean, a really good screenwriter would really write a good drama for humans against the backdrop of monster fighting. But what we got was nada.
Oh my god, I was there! Godzilla's apex attack, I saw it go down!
The Hollow Earth aerial vehicle. Heave.
Okay.
Yes, all right.
But when it comes to Kong, what I say goes.
You name the terms.
And the stories move from one scene to another scene. It's kind of like, you know, wrestling, whereby we know we are there for the fight, and then the story is just there for, I don't know, nothing. And then you have a standard villain, a power-hungry villain that's rich, and he wants a power source to power up Mechagodzilla, and hire a geeky science guy and use Kong to locate the way to the center of Earth.
You serious?
Let that sink in for a moment. And then with a Jane Goodall wannabe, a cute little deaf girl, a swimsuit model daughter, and a flying King Kong, they all make their way to the Antarctica. Then using a Matrix-like hovercraft, they get to the center of the Earth. After getting what they want and dying at the hands of some turkey bat monsters at the center of the Earth, the humans find themselves in tragic circumstances. To be honest, I wasn't at the edge of my seat here. I did not care for any one of them, whether they live or die. I mean, I wanted them to die because I was so bored. The characters have no arc whatsoever, and worse, no soul, remotely resemble any character that we care on screen. Oh god, I miss those days where good old characters were really great and we really cared about them. Hell, even Millie Bobby Brown was reduced to a sideline of a B story just to give us something to do. But hey, that's still a paycheck, right? Next, I have another problem. Logic, or the lack of. In the events of this film, it's just a few years after Godzilla King of Monsters, and they have technology to create a hovercraft. Not only that, they can go to the center of the Earth. It's practically magic. And they have secret tunnels that go from one place to another place, transporting monsters. I mean, It's just like in a few years, the tech evolved is by leaps and bounds to thousands of years. The moment the craft lifts off that looks like a hovercraft, I was already rolling my eyes. I just can't believe it. And also the logic of the center of the earth. Let me explain. How can human characters proceed to the center of the earth? In this case, walk all the way or go all the way to the hollow earth and not, I don't know, die? Just to give you a perspective on this, the center of the earth is about 6,370,000 meters deep with a pressure of 3.6 million atmosphere. That's the weight of 47,700 elephants standing on your body weighing 334,000 tons with an internal temperature of 6,000 degrees Celsius. Now, I seriously doubt you can walk around freely, let alone live. Also, why is there sunlight inside hollow earth? Shouldn't it be pitch black? I don't know, the last movie it was mentioned that the monsters feed off radiation from the center of the earth to feed them, give them strength. Yet the humans can walk around freely without no radiation protective gear. Think about that. Anyway, I keep telling myself that it's a movie and I shouldn't be bothered about the logic, but there's only so much you can do about that. And the next thing that bothers me is security. Explain to me how the characters of Millie Bobby Brown and her gang enter Apex, a top secret facility, and witness a transport of monsters and the control of Mecha Godzilla without even being stopped at all. I mean, you try entering a hospital right now during COVID times, and I'm sure you'll be subjected to very stringent checks before you even enter the gate. And how did Tia, the deaf girl, secretly talk King Kong sign language while under supervision by her mother, the scientists, and thousands of controlled cameras in the dome of Skull Island? Tell me, how did she do it secretly? My head hurts. How is it possible how is it possible to transport Kong that weigh thousands of tons with just a few helicopters? Did anyone do the math on this? And lastly, the most stupid of all, why is the creation of Mechagodzilla seen in this film as a bad idea? I mean, if you live in a world whereby monsters are threatening my existence, I will surely find a way to defeat them so that I can live. And if I can create a monster, a giant monster or a robot to even kill them, why is it wrong?
This you mean I, and I alone, have given humanity a chance against the Titans, then yes, I will own that title.
Haven't they learned anything from Pacific Rim? And everyone celebrates that Mechagodzilla is dead and Godzilla and Kong becomes friends and they are alive and they go their separate ways. I mean, those monsters are still alive. Hey, idiots, the problem is still in existence. Now, because Mechagodzilla is dead, we have no defense against them. Why are you all so happy? That makes no freaking logic whatsoever. Anyway, to sum it up, this film and its plot holes, believe me, there are more, but I only have one life and I don't intend to waste my life talking about it. This film tried to piece together its own multi-universe, its own monsterverse, as it will. Was it a head-turner? Is this a film whereby it's just as good as the iconic original Star Wars that people will line up to watch? No, not in a million years. This film is a generation of monsters fighting monsters, and you know what? It is an Asian thing. It is a kaiju film that was created in Japan after World War II. Those films were a commentary about nuclear bombs dropping on Japan. I guess the West cannot really relate to those films because they were the ones that dropped the bombs in Japan in the first place. But anyway, it's a good effort. I give Godzilla vs. Kong a B-. That's all for today from the Screen Room. Subscribe to my channel, come back, like this video, tell your friends about it. Until the next time we see each other, this has been the Screen Room. Thank you very much. Welcome back. Anytime, the room is always open.